In tonight's headlines, Housing Secretary Winnie Ho says young people's desire to buy a home gives them a motivation to strive within the society. The first residential site to close tender after the policy address received only 6 bids. And police clamped down on a fraud syndicate which lure Mandatory Provident Fund contributors to pre-withdraw their pensions, involving $145 million.
Young people in the city will have a higher chance of purchasing subsidized flats under the home ownership scheme in the upcoming sale exercise, as the government has promised them an extra ballot number and increased housing supply, according to Housing Secretary Winnie Ho. Speaking to iCable News program Let's Talk, Ho recognized the pressing need for young people to secure home ownership. Research shows 60 to 70% of young people prioritize owning a home in their life plans, with over half of HOS flats being acquired by individuals aged 40 and under. Such a goal motivates them in their careers, fostering a culture of striving within society, Ho said. While acknowledging that past policies were primarily in favor of the seniors and families with newborns, the House Minister asserted that the needs of younger generations must also be addressed. Ho said she's confident that the overall public housing supply can reach 308,000 units over the next decade. Plus, an adjusted ratio between public rental housing and subsidized sale flats from the current 7:3 to 6:4 would significantly support the young buyers. She noted that such subsidized flats offer more than just affordable housing, but also investment potential. And even with the ratio of subsidized sale flats raised, there is no need to cancel the premium payment arrangement for those who want to resell their HOS flats in the open market, Ho said, noting this prerequisite to pay a land premium serves to protect the private property market and ensures fairness within the scheme. Kun Ting-yang, Cable News.
The measures announced in the recent policy address aiming to stabilize the city's sluggish property market had failed to boost developers' interest in acquiring lands, as the only residential plot for sale in the second fiscal quarter received just 6 bids on site on its tender closing day, including Sino Land. The residential site, located at the junction of Sa Tin Rai Road and Silik Yun Road, has an area of 60,837 square feet and a buildable gross area of 304,000 square feet, which is double the size of the nearby Yunshan Circuit lot sold 3 months ago. It could yield a total of 570 units upon completion. The site is estimated to be valued at between $1.06 billion and $1.2 billion, with a per square foot floor price of $3,500 to $3,950, of which the higher end is about the same as the selling price of the Yunshan Circuit plot.
Police clamped down on a fraud syndicate, arresting 11 people suspected of luring Mandatory Provident Fund contributors to pre-withdraw their pensions, totaling $145 million. Police conducted the operation called Sino Land from Tuesday to Thursday, arresting 7 men and 4 women aged between 24 to 43, who were subsequently charged with fraud, forgery, and money laundering. During the operation, officers recovered $494,000 in cash, 837 MPF application forms, scripts used to persuade victims, and financial ledgers. According to the ledgers, the crime syndicate earned up to $5 million in 2 months. The criminals rented a Grade A office in Jimsazhou and disguised the office as a financial consultancy firm, making appointments for MPF contributors to visit their office and luring them to withdraw their MPF in advance, the police added.
In a bid to enhance protective measures for underprivileged groups in care homes, the government has mandated real-time monitoring of surveillance footage by designated personnel. The Social Welfare Department said it had notified care homes for the disabled of stricter monitoring requirements on Monday. In addition to real-time oversight, personnel must also review recorded footage, establish methods and timing for extracting CCTV clips, and maintain clear records for licensing inspections. The announcement came after a Hongqi Association care home was accused of inadequate monitoring, leading to the recent alleged sexual abuse cases, in which a male staffer was arrested in suspect of sexually assaulting a young man and raping a young woman, both intellectually challenged, in August. The incidents only came to light on Wednesday after the facility reviewed CCTV footage in response to a parent's inquiry about an injury to her son's genital area. The association has since terminated the employee and promised its own probe. Secretary for Labor and Welfare Chris Sun emphasized the ongoing efforts of regular regulation revisions and organizing study sessions for care homes to enhance awareness and protective measures. He noted that the Social Welfare Department issued warnings to 15 care homes over the past year to address shortcomings and rule violations. While these warnings cannot cover all the details, there is a need for regular regulation updates. Industry insiders expressed concern that a lack of manpower may hinder the implementation of new regulations. Richard Lee, chairman of the SME Global Alliance Elderly and Special Needs Services Association, suggested that care homes conduct regular training for staff to prevent similar incidents. Quentin Yang, Cable News.
The standby signal number 1 will remain in force until at least 6 a.m. on Saturday, the Hong Kong Observatory said. Severe tropical storm Tremi is expected to skirt about 500 kilometers to the south of the city tomorrow morning, it said, adding that as the prevailing winds will mainly be northerlies, local wind will not strengthen significantly tonight and at first tomorrow because of terrain sheltering effect. But as Tremi gradually moves towards the southwest of the city, some places that were sheltered before may become exposed, and the rain bands associated with the storm will also start to affect the coast of Guangdong. The observatory will assess the need of issuing the strong wind signal number 3 during the day tomorrow, depending on the change in local wind conditions.
Secretary for Environment and Ecology Ted Chin-wan said the second phase of the ban on disposable plastic products will be implemented only when the alternatives are ready. Taking to the airwaves, Ted said a culture of no plastic use was gradually taking shape as many residents were starting to bring their own reusable cutlery. Also, 30% of the city's restaurants are no longer providing any takeaway utensils. Although a minority of businesses failed to comply with the new regulations, the authority will continue to educate and encourage them to adapt gradually, he added. The Environment Minister said the authorities, meanwhile, are collaborating with major catering groups who are testing different reusable products in order to get prepared for the second phase. He admitted that the government had learned a lesson from the controversy over municipal solid waste charging, that only when alternative products are technologically mature and reasonably priced, the second phase will be launched. He also acknowledged that while the MSW charging has been postponed, the government's promotional efforts have raised public awareness about waste reduction and recycling. The government will lay out more details regarding this to the Legislative Council in the middle of next year. Evelyn Bai, Cable News.
Three journalists were killed in southern Lebanon early Friday as the guest house they slept in was hit by an Israeli strike. It was the deadliest attack on media in Lebanon since hostilities erupted between Israel and Hezbollah a year ago. The journalists killed were camera operator and engineer from pro-Iranian and pro-Hezbollah news outlets. Lebanon's health ministry declared the killing as a war crime. The compound housing the journalist was located in the Hezbollah region, which has been spared much of the violence along the border. At least 18 journalists from 6 media outlets, including Sky News, Al Jazeera, and Lebanon's broadcasters, were using the guest houses. Several other journalists were wounded. This man recalled the wall in his bedroom fell on him around 3 a.m. local time, and he could not move. There was no immediate comment from Israel on the airstrike.
Grab your ticket and your suitcase.
On a countdown to the U.S. election day, the Democratic Party has turned to star power in its rallies.
Without a spark.
Rock legend Bruce Springsteen was cheering for Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris, strapping on acoustic guitar in a performance of Land of Hope and Dreams and Dancing in the Dark.
Kamala Harris. She's running to be the 47th president of the United States. Donald Trump is running to be an American tyrant.
Springsteen will appear again at Harris' rally next Monday in Philadelphia, along with former U.S. President Barack Obama, who was here this night in Georgia too. Obama again mocked Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump, suggesting he was like an older relative in need of intervention.
I mean, have you seen Donald Trump lately? He out there giving 2-hour speeches, just word salad. Said the other day, January 6th was a day of love, he said that. Like it was Woodstock or Coachella. If your grandpa was acting like this, you'd call up your brother, call up your cousin, you say, hey, have you noticed Grandpa? He acting kind of funny right now.
The vice president's star-studded rallies will continue, with superstar singer Beyoncé expected to appear with her in a Houston rally later today. Meanwhile, Trump may have trailed behind in the celebrity endorsement race. However, new polls showed Harris and Trump neck and neck nationally and in battlegrounds. Anna Chan, Cable News.